Hi and welcome. Today's lesson is a poem. This poem, Animals, written by Whitman, is from the book Grade 10 textbook First Flight. Let us begin with the poem and then we'll proceed further. The poem is written by Walt Whitman. He was a poet. He was an American poet born 1819 and he lived till 1892. He was a major figure in the earlier American poetry. It was an age when poetry was at its peaks for its rhyme and meter. That means it was highly metrical in nature. But Whitman, being a nonconformist or a rebel, he did not want to conform his poetry to rhyme and meter. So he wrote blank verse or free verse. He was a nonconformist and a rebelist in all respects, including in his social life. And this element of his social life is very much evident in his poetry. The poet tells us that he feels more at home with animals than humans, whom he finds complicated and false. Now he's comparing humans to animals, animals to humans, and he is more towards animals. He likes them. Why? Because of certain qualities that he sees in animals which are absent in human beings, or there are certain qualities in human beings which he does not like. Humans are unreliable and at times unpredictable. Kindly make a note of it. These two qualities, unreliable and being unpredictable. This somewhat pricks Walt Whitman, and he doesn't like human beings and he gives more weightage to animals, overlooking its ferocious qualities. The text that is in blue is the poem, and the one that is in black the explanation or the introduction. The poem is it is titled Animals. It is written by Walt Whitman. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. No one is dissatisfied. No one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me, and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? Walt Whitman. This poem is quite interesting. You can make out that it is written the way you seem to read prose, though it is poetry, but it gives us a feeling that as if we are reading prose, because the verses are written in simple English and it flows uh, very fluently. The flow is very natural to the next line, and the idea completes itself. And this poem appeared in Song of Myself in Leaves of Grass. That was a collection of poem. Now let us go through the explanation, line by line explanation, and kindly make a note of certain important words, literary devices, poetic devices that will help you in answering the questions. I think I could turn to live with animals. That means he was actually turning away from something. What was that he was turning away? He was turning away from the human society. That is why he has used the word turn. I think I could. Now, this I think is anaphora. We'll come to know what is anaphora a little later. I think I could turn and live with animals. He's saying this very defiantly and challengingly. Why? Because he doesn't like human beings, he doesn't like their society at all. So placid and so self contained. That means they are so self contained, they are so happy in their life, they do not interfere in someone else's life. I stand and I at look them long and long. Make a note of this word long and long. This is repetition, and this repetition is used for emphasis. That means he wants to emphasize that he looked at them for a very, very long duration. Blessed over here means calm and peaceful. And then we have the word self-contained. Self-contained means to keep up control. In the stated words, the poet says that he wants to dwell in the world of animals. It can be said that the poet finds the world of animals better than that of human beings. He further adds that he finds animals more peaceful than humans. His observation is based on personal experiences, and he concludes that the animals are selfless. Kindly make a note of this word selfless, because animals are not running after worldly gains like the human beings. So this is one quality that he has mentioned very clearly. Kindly make a note of it, that they are self-contained. They are not after worldly gains. They are calm and have no greed of worldly things or any other achievement. That means greed is another quality that he deplores in human beings. Remember the word deplore. I use the word deplore while talking. Deplore. Deplore means hates. They are self-contained means they are happy with life, and then they never interfere in the lives of others. Humans have the habit of interfering in the lives of others. Make a note of this quality also. Humans interfering nature is disliked by Walt Whitman. Humans have the habit of interfering. This I have just completed. So the poet thinks that animals are better than humans because the animals are calm and non-interfering in the matters of others. The poet further says that these are the reasons why he stands still and looks at the animals for a prolonged time. You remember the word long and long, that stays prolonged time. Now the literary devices that is used in the stated words, that means a few lines that we have discussed, only those literary devices have been discussed over here. One is assonance, which means the use of vowel. You can see the word I have highlighted and emboldened them, that I is used in all these words. This is assonance. The poet has employed repetition for emphasis for an idea and action. Example, the use of the word long that we have covered earlier. He was captivated, that means he was captured with the thought of animals. He was captivated with the animals, so he looked for them for a long time, and he used long and long repeatedly to larger part of time. He has also used anaphora. Anaphora I told you earlier, that means the word I, 2 or 3 lines are beginning with I, that is anaphora. We proceed further. This is a poem, the second part. We continue with that. They do not I've highlighted that. I'll explain that part of the poetry anaphora a little later. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. To sweat means to complain over here according to context. To whine means to cry. Sins means wrongdoings, and demented means mad or disturbed. In this poem, the poet says that unlike humans, animals don't complain of any misery. They never cry out loud like human beings do, and to show their grief and losses. They never stay awake in the night crying in repentance for their wrongdoings. This means that animals are different from human beings because they don't show anger or grief if something wrong happens to them. He further says that animals are very truthful because they never boast of their good deeds are done in the way of God. So he's drawing a comparison to animals, and a number of qualities he has mentioned that people tend to be proud of what they have done. The people tend to be proud of that they're praying, they are turning to God, and people tend to boast this quality. Though the animals might also be chirping and praying to their Almighty, but the animals do not tend to boast those qualities. He said that because most of the human beings do this. They try to show their good deeds and religiousness to others. So they tend to be have a boasting nature, or they tend to be hypocrites. They do so in order to gain popularity in the social groups. So that means they are doing it for the sake of gaining popularity. So the poets think that animals never irritate him by doing such things just to gain some praise from their fellow people. He feels that the animals are not dissatisfied like human beings. They stay happy with whatever they possess. They never run behind worldly things. They never try to possess things of comfort and luxury. They stay the He says that none of them is mad behind owning the worldly things. The literary devices used in the stated lines are anaphora. I told you the highlighted lines, that is beginning with I, that is anaphora, that is used for repeated words at the beginning of the two or more consecutive lines. Example, they use, they do not. Here, sweat and wine refer to the cries and complaints of human beings. Then we proceed further with the poem. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me, and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. To kneel means to bow down, to evince means to show or reveal, possession means ownership of something, and tokens means qualities as per the context. In this poem, the poet says that he has never seen any animal showing his devotion to anyone by bowing down in front of the person. So that this quality is seen only in human beings and not seen in animals. This comparison, please kindly make a note of it. They never do so even for their ancestors. That means even in their forefathers must have never done that. They do not show devotion towards God like humans do. Make a note of this quality also. No one among them is more respectable or important as we have in human society. In human beings, rich people are generally given more importance and are treated with more respect as compared to poor. He is criticizing one of the qualities of human society. But in the society of animals, they never do so. They never give more or less importance to any other animal. Everyone, everyone in the animals world is happy. They do not make human beings who find themselves the happiest or the saddest person on earth. Further, the poet says that the animals are more honest in showing their relationships with other animals. Here he wants to say that animals use other animals as their food. They never try to hide this quality, whereas human beings, when they want to make use of some other person, they try to hide. This quality is completely deplorable, and the poet dislikes this quality. He says the animals are very open. If they are dependent on some animal for food or survival, they make it very open. But human beings are also dependable on people, but they hide and they tend to attack their victim. Here he wants to say the animals, they use other animals as their food, and they never try to hide this, whereas human beings show that they have their nice and friendly relationships with others, though the reality is the opposite. The poet says that he accepts the fact that animals are true towards showing their relation to other animals. So this quality of animal is praisable, that they show likeness towards other animals, but human beings tend to hide that, and they are hypocrites because they want to make use of some person for some worldly gains. The literary devices used in the stated lines are metaphor, which with the inner qualities of humans are referred to as tokens. I wonder where, for example, I wonder where they get these tokens. So the word tokens is a metaphor. Kindly make a note of it. It's a stuff used for establishing comparison, and instead of using similes, the comparative word is given the position of a noun, and it is considered as a metaphor. Did I pass? These are the lines of the poem only. I'll skip that. So that at last the poet introspects himself and says that from where do the animals got those good qualities? He further questions himself that where his own good qualities are gone. That means he is also now introspecting after looking at the qualities of animals and those of the society and the human society. Now, after criticizing the humans and drawing a comparison with animals, he is now introspecting, looking at his own qualities, where whether he's thinking whether he has lost where are his qualities. He questions himself: did he leave them, or had they carelessly lost them somewhere? These qualities that are found in human beings in the past, like innocence, kindness, truthfulness, are now seen in animals. He doesn't find these qualities in human beings anymore. He wonders that humans gave up these qualities and they have passed it on to the animals. And I have already discussed that the poet has not used any rhyme and meter, and there is no rhyme scheme in the poem. Now, summarizing, coming to the introduction of the poem, after understanding it line by line, we'll see the poem introduction. In this poem, Walt Whitman draws a comparison between human beings and animals. He has depicted the evils hidden in human brain, which he thinks that animals don't possess the same. So this is one quality. You have made a note of it, that human beings nature of hiding things, whereas animals, they have their very open nature. That is why he thinks that animals are much better than human beings. So that is the first quality he establishes, and then he builds his argument on that quality only, that human beings are not honest and animals are honest in nature. Let us explore and find out whether he is right or wrong. Taking down points. This is an advice for you, instruction for you to take down points to support your argument. Now, to summarize the points in the poem, we have used that the poet has described his desire to become an animal. Why? Because he thinks that animals are far better than human beings. So he is in favor of animals as compared to human beings. Human beings are gluttonous. Kindly make a note of this word. I have intentionally used this word gluttonous because it will definitely raise the standard of your language while you're writing answers. The word means greedy, and it is full of covetousness. That means covetousness means jealousy or envy, jealousy against one another. But animals are tranquil. Tranquil means calm. I've given the meanings also for a better understanding, but I expect these three words that I've given in this line should be used by you in writing, so that the quality of your language is slightly better in your expression. And self-contained. The animals are happy with their abilities. They never complain about the miseries and sorrows, and moreover, they do not face trials and tribulations. Now, this he has established that human beings tend to face these difficulties. On one hand, human beings complain about their miseries, but animals, they do not complain about their difficulties at all. They give more importance to the rich and strong people. Now, another quality is that human beings have this preaching nature in them, that someone who has got money is considered to be a person who is respectable. So this quality of human beings is completely disliked by the poet, that they think that someone who is rich is stronger and someone who is poor is weaker. And they stay restless because of their wrongdoings and chase the affluent. I've used the word affluent. Kindly make of use this word only, affluent. Don't use the word rich. Rich, it means rich. They chase the affluent lifestyle, adorned or decorated and beautified with luxurious things of this world. Whereas animals are honest about their relationship with their family members. They do not give importance to a particular class. They remain in their herds or their flocks. They do not move around outside that. They live in life which is full of honesty and less of greed and avarice and envy. Avarice means envy only. Now let us proceed to the question answers. Notice the use of the word turn in the first line. I could turn and live with animals. What is the poet turning from? I think in the very beginning of the poem I would explain that he's from the society, human society. He doesn't like the human society, so he's turning away from them and he's turning to the animals. They live in the forest. The poet is turning away from living in this world of human beings. He finds animals more placid. Placid means something that is good nature or easygoing and self-contained, and therefore he wants to live with them. The second question is that you may, of course, for the first question, you may go back to the poem and cite the line or the example that you want to support, that you want to use for supporting the answer. Mention three things that human beings do and animals don't. The three things that human beings do and animals don't, I think while understanding, we have made a note of more qualities than those three things. That human beings complain and cry about their miseries and sorrows, that is the first thing. Moreover, human beings lie awake in the night thinking about their wrongdoings. Additionally, human beings also keep telling others about their religiousness and duties towards God. These are the three things that human beings possess. Do human beings kneel to other humans who lived thousands of years ago? Discuss this in groups. Now, this is a discussion. You have to build your arguments based on it. Though in the poem, the poet has mentioned that their forefathers or the ancestors never did that. Yes, humans kneel to other humans who lived thousands of years ago. They could be some ancestors, saints, or preachers whom they follow religiously. They worship them and follow their preachings. Now, this is your opinion that people in the past or in history, they have preached ancestors. That means we have seen, for example, we have seen rulers or the kings who were considered as God. Pharaoh the king, he himself declared himself as God. So we do have examples of that nature. Read the question carefully and then go back to the poem and see whether the poet has said that or not. This is a challenge for you to understand whether, if the poet has mentioned that he says that his ancestors have done it, then you may say yes, the poet has done it, said it. But if the poet has said, I do not think that even their ancestors have done it, so please understand that if the poet disagrees with it, then do not blame the poet for establishing the fact that they were preaching him. So go back to the poem, first check what the poet has said, and then come to draw a comparison over here in this answer, and cite your examples where you have from the poem from where you have cited. These are just guidelines, these are not the actual answers to be written. The guidelines. Go back to the poem, cite the example, the verse, come back and build your answers quoting the verses from your text or the poem. The next question, what are the tokens? The word tokens is in inverted commas that the poet has used. He has many, he has have dropped long ago, which the animals have kept for him. That means the tokens, certain qualities are being mentioned. Discuss this in class. Hint, Whitman belongs to the romantic tradition, that means the era that includes Rousseau and Wordsworth. What is the romantic era? That means the people, the poet, the writers, everyone was turning back to nature. What could be the basic aspects of our nature as living things that humans chose to ignore or deny? The word tokens, according to the poet, is the good are the good qualities in human beings. The poet feels that nowadays good qualities do not exist in human beings. They have lost them for the sake of worldly gains, which they want to achieve at any cost. I believe that has brought us to the end of the lesson. And if you have questions, I would request you to write down your questions and share your questions with me. Thank you very much. If you are new on the channel, kindly subscribe to the channel, and if you like today's lesson, kindly hit like and share it with family and friends. Thank you.